that Zack Snyder remembered how to make something fun. Almost. Ooh. How much crap am I going to get for this? So, Army of the Dead, Zack Snyder's new film, his revisiting to his roots in cinematic history, as Dawn of the Dead was his first feature-length film, the remake of Dawn of the Dead, obviously. And it's his first time stepping away from superheroes in a while. So, what do we think? It's pretty good. There's a lot of bits to it that I really do appreciate and I really do enjoy. First of all, the premise is kind of genius simplicity. Like, given how long zombies have not only been around, but how long they've felt overdone, I'm kind of shocked that I can't think of anyone else having pulled a zombie heist movie before. So, broad stroke premise on this, zombie outbreak in Las Vegas. Las Vegas is completely quarantined off. Nobody gets in or out, or they're not supposed to be able to get in or out at any rate. A casino owner has a ton of cash still in a safe that he's actually already gotten paid out the insurance money for, so why not hire a bunch of mercenaries to go and get the physical cash as well and basically get a double payday? That's the premise, going into a zombie-infested city to pull a heist, which means you need not just people who can wield a gun, but the heist people as well. You need somebody who can fly the helicopter. You need somebody who can break into the bank vault. It's really neat. I mean, like, I'm a sucker for heists. I would say I'm a sucker for zombies, but, like, I'm kind of over zombies in a lot of ways, but, like, that's a really cool mashup. And again, kind of shocked that I haven't seen it before. I'm not going to go on the record and say definitively nobody's done it, but I can't think of anyone who has. And that's a neat idea. Cast is really good too. Dave Bautista absolutely owns as the lead character. He's really good. Like, as an actor, can we acknowledge that? Like, he's great as Drax, but like, he can give depth, he can give emotion, and he doesn't even necessarily need lines to do it. He's really good. The supporting cast is all solid. I appreciated the fact that the ones who annoyed me the most and like, oh, you're going to irritate me, were among the first to die. I appreciated that quite a bit. This doesn't feel as overlaid and as sort of marinated in the sort of political angles that Snyder has been known to come at things with before. You know, a sort of libertarian in some cases, and in some cases more objectivist sort of approach to things. There's way less of that on display, which, again, like, let me be clear, having those themes doesn't make something a bad movie, but, you know, given that I've seen him explore those themes super explicitly, repeatedly in a lot of his work, it's nice to see that sort of thing not be laid heavily in on this one. That's kind of what I meant when I said he remembered how to make a fun movie, because yeah, the opening, I mean, like, okay, here's the funny thing. The opening, particularly the opening credit sequence, which is, of course, done to Viva Las Vegas as you watch the zombie virus rip through the city, and a lot of it's in slow motion. And look, having the song Viva Las Vegas on the soundtrack for this thing, super obvious needle drop. Having it for the opening credits, oh my god, could you get more on the nose? And normally that bugs me, but it doesn't here. You know why? 'Cause it's fun. It's not trying to be taken seriously. Snyder's super obvious needle drops have a tendency to bother me when I feel like they take me out of the moment. And I'm going, oh, really? But here, like, I'm in the moment and the moment's ridiculous. So this is the time to make a super obvious needle drop. And there's a few of them. But they work because they match the tone that the thing has for most of its runtime. Now, it is still a Snyder movie, so it's about a half hour longer than it really needs to be. And there's a couple of plot threads that don't really add all that much. There's also a very contrived way to get Bautista's daughter in on the heist, and the way that the plot crowbarred her into the situation, I didn't totally buy, and then how that entire element of the plot resolves, I really found myself going, why? But to be clear, the daughter didn't annoy me. And she's an adult. It's not like the kid snuck on the helicopter. No. There's nothing like that. So don't come away with that impression. But there are definitely some plot threads that don't really need to be there. There are a couple of scenes that are in slow-mo where it doesn't add anything. There are some scenes like the opening credits. The slow-mo, mwah, lots of fun. I dig it. There's another thing later on where the members of the crew who have been picked are sort of gearing up, and a lot of that's in slow-mo. But the thing is, they're not even like right about to get into the city, so it's not like we're building to their arrival. They're just sort of like looking over arsenals, and it's done to like a 2-minute long song, and I'm like, why is this scene here at all? Why is it this long? Again, not enough that it pulls me out of the thing, but I can see where the fat has been left on this a little bit. And maybe that makes this burger tastier for you. For me, I would have trimmed a little bit more of the fat, but that's me. There's a lot of interesting, odd, nice little touches from things like, I'll try not to get into spoilers too much, but we've got some interesting quirks in terms of how the zombies work. Because we have our basic shambling zombies, but we've also got smarter, faster zombies, and there is a reason for why they are that way. And it's kind of interesting to, first of all, find out what the angle is, and then to watch it play out, and you're just kind of going, okay. I'm not 100% convinced that the movie needed the extra angle, because honestly, heist in a zombie-infested city might have been enough, but it doesn't clash with the heist. So adding this extra element in, no, it works. Again, I'm not entirely sure it was necessary, but it's not detracting. And it gives, another little layer, another little, okay, that's a little different. I can appreciate that. I would spoiler this, but it's in the trailers. There's a zombie tiger, for crying out loud, and stuff like that. There's a great moment. There's this tiny moment that I love early on. Absolutely adore it. Which is, one of the guys they recruit is a guy who's basically famous on the internet for being really good at headshotting zombies on a YouTube channel. And they bring him in, and he brings a couple of his crew with him. One of them, looks at him and goes, wait, you were serious? We're really going to go into the middle of Vegas to kill zombies? No, this is insane. I'm not doing this. And he just leaves. He just gets in the car and he leaves. And he's not like, well, we can't let him go because he knows about, he's not killed. They just let him go. I just love that somebody shows up for a zombie heist, looks at the situation and goes, no, and leaves. Because honestly, that's probably what I would have done. So I just appreciate that he was there. A lot of the performances are quite enjoyable. The guy who's the safecracker, I thought he was going to annoy me. I thought he was going to grate on me. I really did appreciate him. He grew on me pretty quick. I liked him rather a lot. The helicopter pilot was played by Tig Notaro, which is sidebar. This kind of immediately upped my respect for Zack Snyder as a person, which is that Tig Notaro was not originally cast to play this pilot. He had another actor whose name I cannot remember now, but some very skeezy stuff came out about him after the film had been shot. So what he did was he recast with Tig Notaro, but they had neither the time nor the money to bring all the actors back and reshoot everything from the ground up. So what they did instead, all of Tig Notaro's scenes are against a green screen and or alongside stand-ins. She didn't get to perform with any of the actors, but she's threaded in seamlessly. They use digital stuff to insert her into a couple of group shots and stuff like that, but she's acting completely in isolation, and she's a lot of fun as this mechanic and helicopter pilot who's just really unfazed and chomping on a cigar the whole time. She's great. And like I said, the fact that all it did was add a lot of work, and I think most people, given the time at which the stuff came out about the original actor, I think most people would have gone, it's not reasonable for us to expect you to fix this. Sorry you're stuck with it. You're too close to release. It is what it is. I think most people knowing how film production is, knowing how expensive it is, knowing what a pain in the ass and how much money it would cost to even do what they did, would just go on, well, they're not going to bother. But they did. And he found, I think, just a much more interesting performer as a result. I mean, I don't know that for a fact. I didn't see the original actor, but like originally it was just a guy who was going to play a generically guy role, and Tig Notaro brings a whole different energy, and it's great. Respect. Now, I am going to get mildly into spoilery stuff towards the end because I need to talk about where it started to lose me. The movie never completely lost me, but towards the end, I was kind of being like, oh. So that's your warning. Remember how I said Zack Snyder remembered how to make a fun movie? Almost. Yeah. The ending, the nihilism creeps back in. And I wouldn't normally begrudge this, but it felt and like, I'm not saying like, oh, everybody should have lived, but by the end, as more and more characters who were getting picked off, and more frequently it felt like the only reason you're killing that character is because you've decided you're going to have an almost everybody dies ending. And it feels forced. The grimness of the last 20 minutes or so feels a little forced, especially considering that the movie was willing to be bright and colorful and silly in a dark, humor, violent way, but by the end, it seemed to forget that was how it started. And the tail end of the movie, while the transition of tone is smooth enough that I can't say it goes off the rails, but by the end, tonally, the movie that finished was not the movie tonally that I started with, and I was really into the movie tonally that we started with. It's still fun. I enjoyed it. It felt like a palate cleanser. I hope it felt like a palate cleanser for Snyder as a filmmaker. For me, as someone who's seen a decent amount of his work, it felt like a palate cleanser for me as somebody who takes in his work, because it felt so different from something like Batman v Superman or Justice League, his cut, obviously, that it just reminded me like, oh, he doesn't just do the one thing that he's kind of been doing for the last, 5-8 years, however long it is he's been working with the DC movies. This was nice. I needed this, to remind me that it is okay for me to appreciate that he has a wider skill set than we've seen from him in a while. And I enjoyed it, for the most part. Didn't need the nihilism at the end, but Snyder's gonna Snyder. What did you think of Army of the Dead? Whatever your thoughts are, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. Like, share, subscribe. I have a Patreon link in the description. There are rewards for every tier, including things like getting to see the docket early, seeing your name show up in the credits, which you should be seeing right about now. But even if you're not able to do that, don't sweat it too much. The other stuff I mentioned, the like, share, subscribes, the bell, they'll help me out, but no pressure on any of that because we take a relaxed attitude around here. So just come on back. Next time, you need a break.